thank you for the invitation, and it is an honor to be here. And I read my text because the time was short to prepare my talk. T.S. Eliot once wrote, "Words strain, crack, and sometimes break under the burden, under the tension, slip, slide, perish, decay with imprecision, will not stay in place, will not stay still." Some such words are faith, science, religion, and belief. Science, technology, and economics, real or imagined, provide for many of our contemporaries the grand narrative which undergirds their trust, their hope, and their commitment. Without trust, hope, and commitment, minds sink into depression and societies cease to function. Every day we see fluctuations in confidence wipe millions of the value of shares in the markets and shake the roots of government. At times, the erosion of trust will bring about the collapse of a regime. In this context, the grand narrative tells us science, technology, and the wizardry of economics will in time respond to most present-day dilemmas and lay bare the true causes of suffering and sickness. The reality of human condition, however, is more complex. A more sober evaluation of life and the universe opens the door to more questions than answers. Why does the universe exist at all? Some scientists have pondered when its existence, as we know it, rests upon a knife edge of improbability. And how can we explain the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics, I quote. Or, in other words, why do the equations and theorems we develop from logical principles allow us to understand the workings of physical reality? In the words of Pope Benedict to the Bundestag in Germany, is it really pointless to wonder whether the objective reason that manifests itself in nature does not presuppose a creative reason, a creator spiritus? But what science are we talking of when we speak of the evolution of science? Ultimately, by science we mean knowledge. In its more restricted contemporary sense, we mean a knowledge acquired through a logically controlled process which can be verified and replicated by others. That, however, is true only of a small proportion of human knowledge. And even then, to what extent is the knowledge gained through mathematics of the same kind as knowledge acquired through astrophysics or the study of subatomic particles? And how do any of these relate to the knowledge acquired in biology? Do we exclude art, music, and literature from the field of relevant human knowledge? Or do we relegate them to some inferior understanding of reality? Common sense tells us that we need all these forms of knowledge and more, especially the wisdom that comes from contemplating and understanding relationships in nature and between people. Observe how trust, confidence, and hope are unthematically present from the moment we enter the world and are held in our mother's arms. Without this openness to reality around us, we would be, as Citizen Kane murmurs in remorse on his deathbed, a rosebud full of promise which never flowered. When, however, our mouth, our mind, our heart first opened in search of nourishment and comfort, many of us were fortunate enough to encounter gestures of tender, loving care, and so our initial instinctive trust in life was reinforced and became imprinted in us as a fundamental openness to existence. Gradually, a narrative emerged, a story of our life, telling us who we were, giving content to the pronoun I, relating us to the world around us, and maybe even suggesting a hidden meaning for our life. But is this world, this universe, truly trustworthy? And if so, why? Death, destruction, conflict, seem to belie the initial trusting breath of the newborn child, that upward thrust of life from a primeval ooze to animate existence and on to complex relations and human consciousness. In the face of natural calamities and moral corruption, families, clans, nations, and cultures have attempted to shore up their collective confidence to guarantee survival. Family honor, national pride, abstract ideologies have all at one point or another been used for this purpose. Nothing, however, has contributed as powerfully and creatively to this effort as spiritual experience. Born of silence and contemplation, this is often a deep-felt intuition as to the ultimate nature of the universe, not dissimilar to the sudden insight of the scientist straining to look beyond disparate data and partial hypotheses in search of a unifying theory of some aspect of reality. Returning to T.S. Eliot's spiritual journey, mapped out in his 4 quartets, I said to my soul, be still, and let the dark come upon you, which shall be the darkness of God. As when an underground train in the tube stops too long between stations, and the conversation rises and slowly fades into silence, and you see behind every face the mental emptiness deepen, leaving only the growing terror of nothing to think about. Wait without thought, for you are not ready for thought. So the darkness shall be the light, and the stillness the dancing, whisper of running streams and winter lightning. There is another dimension to spiritual experience, however, which should not be forgotten. For many, it is the key to a true understanding of reality. I am referring to the word of the mystic and the prophet. They bear witness to an unexpected inbreaking of the ultimate ground of being, filling mind and heart with bliss. The moment is experienced as a divine visitation, a personal calling, and an almost irrecusable commission. For Christianity, this foundational experience is broadened. The spiritual power emanating from the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus of Nazareth is seen as throwing light on the true meaning of human life and history, as a stained glass window lighting a breathtaking cathedral. In that light, we discover that the fragile, delicate gift we call disinterested love, often despised as weakness by the powers that be, is no passing emotion, but the word the whole universe has been struggling to express, the relationship that most truly reflects its origin and creator. How then does the Jewish and Christian tradition see the evolution of science? In a sense, the books of Scripture and the book of nature have one and the same author. The progress of science represents a deepening of our understanding of the reasonableness of reality. But there is a proviso. Knowledge, be it from Scripture or from nature, does not in itself bring with it goodness and dignity. Beyond knowledge lies freedom, and the wisdom to use freedom justly comes from humility and love.